I use Facebook. And I've had...
Yeah, I browse Facebook too.
Welcome to the John and Joe Show, where we talk about leadership, community, and random musings. I'm John Schober, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Joey McGurr.
So, I just came from an event hosted by Facebook.
Here in Austin?
Yep.
What was it?
There were about 600 people in the room at the Shoal Creek Conference Center, and it was called Facebook Small Business Boost. And it's the same thing they always do, you know. Hey, let's put on a free event. Let's cram as many small business owners or marketers as we can into a room, and then tell them they need to spend money on Facebook advertising. And then we'll put a panel. They did the very same thing about 6 months ago. They had an event called Facebook Fit, Make Your Business Stronger. And so it was the same thing. You know, let's put a panel up there and tell them. All the panel members are business owners or the marketing directors of local businesses, and they're going to tell the world how they spend money on Facebook ads and they get a remarkable ROI, which I don't doubt. But they leave out a lot of the facts that, you know, that they don't always get a return.
Yes.
That's one. Two, they do a lot of other additional marketing on top of that. Three, they're businesses that have been around for 10 or 15 or more years. So they already have an established consumer base. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and then there's all there's a bunch of startups in the front row salivating. Give it to me. I want to hear it. And you know, and they're not listening to the facts. They showed this one graph. I love how people manipulate graphs to get the response that they want. People who make graphs are better at marketing than professional marketers. Marketers should go learn how to make graphs. They had this one graph, and it shows this. Here's television. And it's, if you look at the little tiny numbers at the bottom, here's 1960 and here's 2000.
Right.
And then right next to 2000 is 2000. No, excuse me. And the same distance from the 2000 is 2015. So you're in the front of the graph, you're looking at 40 years.
Right.
And on the back of the graph, you're looking at 50 years, but they manipulate the graph. And they go, look at how it bends here in this. Look how much more we did in the second half after 2000. That's because the graph is 3 times longer than it should be, you liars. Television did this.
Politicians never do that.
Mobile did this. Yeah. And I'm like, you're not fooling me. You're probably fooling most everybody else in the room, though. And a lot of the numbers were like that. And, you know, there's 131 million people a day logging into Facebook, and on average 14 times a day. That's great. That's great that all these people in Bangladesh are logging into Facebook.
Right. Doesn't
mean anything for my local curio shop down on 35th Street. But the one lady who did actually have a retail business on 35th Street, the Everything Celtic, or she had got this Valentine heart, and she described it as being 2 dragons intertwined, making a heart, and they're kissing at the top. She's totally adorable, and I loved her. She was very frank. She was a great panelist, and she says, I went and I targeted people on Facebook that were fans of Game of Thrones, and I sold out in 24 hours. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's smart, but yeah. Everybody else in the room is going. They're going straight to their computers and they're targeting Game of Thrones fans. They don't have a clue. They're not really learning anything.
Right.
This she's in the game. She's doing it. And, you know, I don't have actual evidence of this, but I'm pretty sure that the 3 people on the panel, the reason they're there is because they're working with Facebook directly. And if you're working directly with Facebook, if you're paying Facebook for help to promote your business, they're going to make you look good, and then they're going to put you in front of 600 people and have you tell your story about how good you look. They had, the Austin Chamber was sponsoring it as well. So they had a speaker, and then they had a congressman speak, and then the Facebook people came up and did a course. But I thought it was going to be from 9:30 to 10:30 because that's what the invite said. But it didn't start until 10, and it didn't end until almost noon. And so when I said
Wow.
I'd be here at 11, I assumed I'd be here because I figured it would end. I also ran into several people I hadn't seen in a long time, which was great because some of them, it was a nice reminder to them that they actually knew somebody who knew what he was doing in this space. And so they asked if they could follow up with me because they had a lot of questions and they didn't want to ask the Facebook people. They wanted to ask me. So that might lead to some business. So I'm happy about that.
That's cool. Yeah. I think there's always a mixed bag when you go in, you have like a vendor meeting or a vendor sponsored thing. I think they want to do the right thing. I mean, everyone knows. I mean, it's a sales deal. I mean, it's not like they're hiding anything.
Right. I mean, it's free.
It's free.
So if it's free, you're going to get pitched.
Kind of like the show. The show's free.
The show is free, and if you want to buy something from us, you should.
Absolutely. Lots of something. We have no idea what, but we just in truckloads of cash would be fine. We have lots
to offer, and we're looking for sponsors. So if you want to,
well, I use Facebook, and I've had
I browse Facebook too.
I've had mixed results. I think it's expanded my audience reach a little bit. I don't know that I've generated sales from it. I don't know it's given me any revenue.
It's hard to tell, and they were talking about the conversion pixel, which is a great idea. Essentially, you put a bit of code on your website and you run an ad on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You tie the two together and it gives you a sense of what kind of traffic is specifically coming from that ad to your website. Problem is, if I go to your website and you don't do a good enough job on your landing page to actually close me at that moment, I might call you 3 weeks later.
Right.
And then you don't know that it was because of that particular ad campaign that was the reason why I called you. And a lot of businesses actually operate that way. Now, the internet marketers would have you believe that you create a great website, you go out there and you spread your message far and wide, and people will come and buy off your website, and that is true. But when I go to Amazon, I've made my buying decision long before, and I've done my research and my homework, and I've asked my friends, and then I'm going to make a buying decision. In fact, a lot of retailers are hurting because Amazon, they'll be at a store and they'll search on their phone, and if the price is cheaper, they'll purchase it on their phone right there in Amazon. That's when they're making the buying decision, not because they're looking at Facebook and they see a really cool, slick ad go by.
Well, yeah, I mean, Best Buy is really complaining about that. I mean, Best Buy, people are going to Best Buy, looking at the showroom, hey, I like this widget, and go on to Amazon, buy it, and by the time they get home, it's already delivered.
Right. In a lot of cases. Yeah, we get stuff next day all the time.
In the groups that I think you and I kind of go around in, there's two types of websites or two types of businesses. There's the marketing, hey, I've got this widget that I'm selling you right now. Mm-hmm. Those websites, I do think that it makes a lot of sense for kind of impulse buying. The Celtic Shop on 35th Street, right? I mean, they did a Facebook ads. They knew that their products would resonate with Game of Thrones fans, put an ad out there. They sold out a bunch of stuff. Okay, makes total sense. But a lot of the people that we hang out with are much more in the information space.
Right.
They're
consultants.
They're attorneys, they're CPAs, they're SEO. Well, I guess you're not really an SEO.
I'm not, but I know them, yeah. So and I run with them, so I know the challenges that they have, yeah.
And that's a very different play. I mean, that play from a Facebook perspective, it's very hard to make a direct, okay, someone saw this thing on Facebook and then they bought my services. At that point, really, it's much more, did I create top of mind awareness? And I guess that's where I've seen some pretty good results, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, is creating a place to where at least my name is kind of rising up to the top, kind of reminding people. In fact, I actually did something last night. So I saw this video. Have you seen the video of the guy playing the guitar? And he has the
iPhone inside it.
Exactly.
I haven't seen the video, but I saw Miles share it or comment on it. Yeah.
So I posted that, and I thought it was like a really cool video. And so I ended up taking the video, embedding it into my website, and then
That's what he shared. You maximize other link. Yeah,
exactly. So then I shared it for Maximize Others. On a typical day, my website will get, 20 or 30 hits per day is probably fairly typical. Last night, from 10 o'clock till midnight, I had 40 hits in 2 hours last night. So do I think any of those are going to be customers, clients?
You don't know.
Maybe, if I got one or two of them, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, and you may have to get 1,000 times that in terms of traffic to convert one into a client. But you might get one out of 40 that will become a referral source. They may never need you.
Yeah,
But they're going to run across people who need you all the time, and since they don't offer that service and they know and like and trust you, and maybe they know your work product and they know that you can help, they're not going to bat an eye. And people are more inclined to get a sales message from somebody who isn't actually going to benefit from the sale.
Right.
Which is one of the other things that, like that's why we post on Facebook, because we want people to share it, because then we know that by sharing it, their friends are going to see it. And if they're seeing it from a friend, their friend's not going to benefit from it monetarily. At least they don't think so. In most cases, they don't.
Yeah.
So you got 44 hits in 2 hours.
So I got 44 hits in 2 hours, but I think that the referral, right? So a friend of mine, Miles, clicked on it. For me, that did exactly what I wanted it to do, which is it brought my mind or my business sort of top of mind.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure that 99% of people are going to watch the video and go away, but they go to the website. They're at least exposed to some of the things that I do. And like most people, I've got a couple of key pages. They're my sales pages, right? I mean, someone has gone. And as I'm looking at it today, I've had one person go to one of my goal pages. So
That's great.
Out of 40 people, one of them went to a goal page.
So then the question is, how do I get 40 more, right? And how do I get 40 more after that? How do I get 100 and then 200 and then 1,000?
40,000.
Right. And we watch a lot of these guys that, the Michael Hyatts and the Dave Ramseys, they have lots of traffic. But, these guys are all over the place. They're publishing books. They've got radio, the nationally syndicated radio shows. They've been in the market a long time. They keynote at 10,000 plus conventions. And
right.
So, but how do you, we're starting out where we're at, obviously. And technology's given us an opportunity to have things like a website and to have a podcast and to, have a Facebook page and be able to do this stuff very, very easily ourselves. A lot of these guys, Dave Ramsey, I don't think, he doesn't publish his content to his website. He's somebody on staff that does that.
I'm sure he has someone on staff.
Michael Hyatt isn't editing his own podcast, but that 10 years from now, we'll have staff and we'll be able to have other people be able to do these things for us while we continue to go to those 10,000 plus audience attended seminars and keynote, to go to book signings for our published books, that kind of stuff, right? And I have a lot of people watch and listen to and repurpose our podcasts. This has been the John and Joe Show. If you want to connect with John and Joey, find them on their website at JonAndJoeShow.com. You can also connect with them on Facebook and Twitter.